How's it going, guys? We're going to do a little bit of Desert War today. So we are continuing essentially off the Battle of Sidi Barrani that we were playing before as the British. For those of you that have not seen the video, I'd highly recommend... We're going to do a little bit of Desert War today. So we are continuing... See, okay, so basically, we did this in the last turn. What I was saying, sorry, there, I got a Skype message. In the last turn, we played the first part of this battle against the Italians. They are receiving some German support, but these are mostly Italian units that are actually defending Sidi Barrani. So we're going to see if we can't go ahead and break through and hopefully get a victory. But it's not as easy as that. You know, this is going to be definitely a challenge. We've already done a lot just getting here, and I hope that we can keep on going the whole way. First thing I'm going to do is immediately begin attacking the enemy artillery here. Obviously, their artillery is a major threat. I'm also going to go ahead and start moving this tank unit over here. As for our artillery here, we can actually go ahead and start bombarding the enemy unit or provide some protective artillery, but I actually think they would be more useful on the main front line. So that's what we're going to do. We will send in some of our motorized units to take on that infantry group. It's the 142nd Catanzaro Infantry Regiment. Where is Catanzaro, Muso? Is that north, central, south? So we're going to go ahead. I think it's Calabria, isn't it? Catanzaro is in Calabria. So these guys might actually be from the Calabrese Italian forces. So we'll go ahead and attack this central position. We've been attacking this area, or continuing to attack this front for quite a while now. Some of my tanks I'm going to send behind to go ahead and hit the enemy's flank. So this is definitely a risky maneuver, but we've got to do something, and obviously sending these tanks behind the flank might be a risky maneuver, but we need to try risky maneuvers if we're going to win in North Africa. I'm going to go ahead and fire on their Libyan infantry regiment. I will take this 1st Royal Horse Artillery, also fire on that infantry regiment. I think our HQs are fine. Don't really think we need to move them much, but we definitely need to continue moving our units forward on this front. So there we go, sending some more tanks in. This is going to be a major offensive, guys. There's no doubt about it. And if we can break through, we might be able to wrap up this battle pretty soon. Go ahead and send in the Matildas. I'm just guessing these are Matildas because it says Matilda over here. That's another thing I should have mentioned. Yeah, you can get the unit information, but you can also get the type of tank by just looking on the right side of the screen and looking at the right side of your tank icon. At that point, it will give you the model, etc., the company, everything. Let's go ahead and... Can we fire with this guy? No, I think this is an anti-tank gun, so... Oh no, that's definitely an artillery gun. Let's get those up. Move this guy forward as well. And we'll get these HQ units a little bit more forward. Why not? Obviously, we want to try to stay close to our units. This HQ is supporting those units. This one is supporting these few units over here. And I'll also bring out my AA guns. Although I don't really think we need them, to be honest. I'm not anticipating that the Italian Air Force is that good. Let's take a look here. Agrippa and waltzing Matildas, yeah. Catanzaro is in Calabria, just a bunch of KMs away from where I was born. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really cool. And that's one region of Italy that I have not yet visited. I really do want to take a look at some point, or have a look. Let's take a look here. But I'm guessing most of the Italian forces, and Musa might know more about this than I do, since he's Italian, obviously. But, you know, once Benito Mussolini rose up, I think he had a lot more support in the north of the country. I'm only assuming that because in Milan, there was, of course, the fascist headquarters, where Mussolini would hold his meetings, where he would, you know, delegate decisions, things like that. So it's interesting to see, obviously, a unit from the south, but, you know, I mean, obviously there were people willing to fight all over the place in the country, so not too surprising. Let's go ahead and attack here, but I would assume that more troops would have been recruited from the north. Okay, here we go, guys. Wish us luck, because we're going to go through with this attack. I think we've got it, but you never know. And you can see it's actually taken quite a while to generate the turn, which anytime that happens in this game, or games similar to this, where you do like a turn-by-turn thing, and you have to wait for the enemy to finish their turn, when it takes a while, you could tell this is going to be a big turn. There's going to be a lot of combat here. I'm almost certain that the fight here is going to involve just a ton of combat. So we'll have to wait and see. Here we go, guys. Wish us luck. Once again, we are in North Africa, playing as the Brits, attacking the Italian line. Let's see how it goes. Artillery first. And actually, the enemy still has some working artillery here, as well as some Stukas. Now, we didn't use our radar because I didn't really feel like we need it. Maybe I'll change my mind once we move forward. But look at that. No, we're definitely breaking through. Wow, look at that, guys. Every single time we look at the front line, we're inching closer and closer to the coast. That's exactly where we want to be going anyway. So really good stuff so far. The thing I am worried about is the guys over here on the left. They need some support pretty badly. I'll try to send over the Matilda, but I think we really need to focus more on the enemy here. And let's see, this is an M13, M40. Please don't tell me this is an American tank. That would be a little strange. It could be. I'm not really sure. In that case, we did not get the model number, or I should say the company name. Okay, let's keep on moving forward. Come on, boys. We're going straight for their HQs, guys. At this point, it's basically just a British blitz. We're doing everything we can to just smash these guys back to the coast and obviously claim victory. So here we go. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and overrun these HQs. We're sending in some infantry to overrun the HQs and some tanks to keep on breaking down the line. And then eventually we can turn our attention to the west. Get those artillery pieces up a bit more. Move this HQ up a bit. We can move this HQ up a bit, as well as all of these RD pieces. Man, we are definitely hammering away at the Italians. I'm going to try to flank them with all of these units. You guys see that? So if we can get behind their line with all of these mechanized units, God knows how much damage we could do to these guys. I'm going to go ahead and do that. As for this line, not much I can do besides perhaps provide some artillery support. Quite frankly, this part of the battlefield is not doing well. We don't have enough troops here. So we're just going to have to rely on RD support. I'm not even going to do any attacks. Go ahead and just leave these guys here. By the way, if you press the Y button, you can go ahead and get the coordinates, in case you were wondering. This is just the map coordinates. I don't usually use them, but if you want to, you can always do that. Let's take a look. Maybe I could just move them around a bit. Just kind of surround the enemy. Alright, let's see how this works. Once again, wish us luck. First, we'll see if we can call in some destroyers. We should be able to call in some destroyers since we're pretty close to the coast here, so I'll open fire on that. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we could call in some decimetric radar. There we go. That's better. Okay. Here we go, guys. Who will be the victor at Sidi Barani? It's going to be interesting to see, guys. I mean, they still have a chance to hold these positions. You know, they do still have units here. And I wouldn't put it past them, especially this western part. I believe this is part of our victory points that we need to capture as well. So if we can't make that left turn quickly, we're already at turn 10 of 15. If we can't turn to the left quickly after winning here, we're in a lot of trouble. Here we go, guys. Move, boys, move. Go for it. So yeah, there's definitely an Italian presence over at Bukub. I'm hoping I'm getting that name correctly. I was going to say I'm sure I'm not, but we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, look at that, guys. We've got the enemy over here near Sidi Barani, right there on the coast. I mean, at this point, we just keep going, right? I think so. I'm going to pause here, take a look at the chat. I must say that with this game, it's a little harder for me to break away and look at the chat because I really do need to focus here on everything. But let's take a look here. Hey, Denny, how you doing? Yeah, there's a lot of people here, but primarily we are how can I put this, lurkers. A lot of us are lurkers. Thank you so much, man. Glad to see Agrippa back. Thank you, man. Much different than the Operational Art of War 4? Yes, I would say definitely. I mean, they're similar. You know, there's definitely similarities. But this game, really, the main focus is North Africa. And the amount of research they've put into this game for North Africa is dramatic. You know, like we mentioned in the beginning here, if we're looking at Sidi Barani, we've even seen Italian units from Catanzaro, Calabria. These are very specific units. Like, they've actually done their research. I'm not saying that the folks at the Operational Art of War 4 haven't, because you'll also get some very realistic unit names there too. But if you're specifically interested in the wars of North Africa during World War II, this is definitely the game to get. I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm going to go ahead and just overrun the enemy here. I'm going to try to overrun their HQs. That's my goal. If we can finish off their HQs, what else do they have, right? So we'll finish off the HQs. We'll send some units behind the lines to try and target the remaining infantry, but I think for the most part, we are getting right through here. The game also shows the Libyan infantry regiments, which I think is something that's really never discussed a lot when Italy is discussed in World War II, which is that Italy obviously had a lot of support from, you know, basically, I wouldn't call them mercenaries, colonial troops, Libyans, etc., a few Egyptians, probably a lot of different Middle Eastern troops that were in North Africa or were subjects of Italy in the past, and of course, because of that, we're willing to fight for it, or forced to. I'm not really sure. In this case, though, we're going to go ahead, keep on doing that blitz. I think we've got these guys near El Maktila. Keep on moving. And maybe... why not? Let's go attack this guy, too. I don't want to push too much on this front because we've already got beaten up here pretty bad, but I am going to do some minor attacks to try to break just single units. May or may not work. And then let's also bring in the destroyers. So as you can see here, there's a big pocket of units. I want to fire at that. Try to get as many as possible, of course. Okay. All right, guys. Hedge your bets right now, by the way. If you guys want to do a We haven't done this in a while, but if you guys want to determine who's going to win this scenario, we could actually do that, Musso, if you're up for it. The British or the Italians, and have a little slith bet here if anybody's interested. Let's see if we can get that going, because we are on turn 10, or turn 12, I should say. No, turn 11. Wow, 3rd time's the charm, Agrippa. Good job. So turn 11 here, 4 turns away from the end of the battle. Are we going to win or are we going to lose? I don't know. I think we're doing pretty good. I think even if we do lose, the amount of damage we've caused to the Italian army here is definitely going to get back to headquarters. Let's go ahead and see how this execution goes, guys. We are, of course, trying to basically overrun them completely in this aspect. Once we get to Sidi Barani, I'm not sure if the game takes into account surrendering prisoners. I think it's mostly just killed, wounded. But maybe, just maybe, we'll get some surrendering prisoners here. All right, here we go, guys. That was interesting. That seemed to end pretty quick. I think we skipped the turn phase. So, by the way, that is a possibility. There's a button to press to just go ahead and skip the overall turn phase. Clearly, we've broken through. But Sidi Barani is still here. So at this point, we go straight to Sidi Barani. Just basically break through however we can. I'll send some guys to hit the HQs, but we are where we want to be. That just rhymed. I just realized. Sidi Barani, and we are where we want to be. That is a little weird. Here we go. Boom. And we'll send in these units to go ahead and tackle the enemy artillery. I don't even think we need to bring in destroyers, because, quite frankly, I mean, the enemy has been beaten pretty badly already. Go ahead and send these tanks, the Matildas, the Dancing Matildas. Somebody mentioned the Dancing Matildas. I'm not really sure. I know a lot more about the armaments of the Germans and the Americans during World War II. As far as the Matilda goes, I know that it was an early war tank. I'm not sure how effective it was, basically. I'm not sure if it was an extremely effective vehicle or if it was a vehicle that was, pretty awful. And obviously, it's an early war tank, so it's not going to perform that well late war, I'm guessing. Fire at the HQ. All right. Hold on a second, guys. The benefits of having a gaming PC. 1 hour of battery time. There we go. Let's grab this guy. And yeah, we actually did break through there. So our infantry's not doing horribly well. They are on this western flank. But there's still a chance for them. Go ahead, and we're going to have to move that arty forward. Oh, no! No! Cancel that. Cancel that order. We just ordered our arty to strike our own arty. Yes, that can happen. Okay. Let's see. All right, guys. The true battle for Sidi Barani is about to start. This is really we're putting all our cards on the table here. So let's hope we can do it. I think I want to move these HQs up a little bit more, though. So I'm going to probably get them forward. And if you just hover over your HQ, all right, you can actually see the units that it controls. So if we're hovering over this one, we can see the 7th SPT group. I think that would probably stand for the 7th support group, is controlling these units over here to the west. So we want to get this guy over to the west ASAP. This guy controlling a bunch of different units. Get him over here ASAP as well. I believe we can fire. Nope, this guy's already moved. This guy is directly in control of that Matilda tank unit. I guess he's lost a lot. And this HQ, we can absolutely move up here. So keep that in mind. I mean, in most of these kind of games, the more advanced strategy titles, you want to keep your headquarters close to your men so that they can bring in resources. Just imagine if you're on a real battlefield, if your headquarters is 100 kilometers away, they're not going to be getting you your ammunition very quickly. Now, if they're 5 or 10 kilometers away, if you call in for support, they might be able to help you. Let's take a look here. Move this guy forward. Move this guy forward. What's this? The Wow, guys. So once again, another just more proof at how much research they've done in this conflict. These are the Rajputana rifles. So these are actually colonial Indian. It's a colonial Indian division, essentially from the British Raj in India. Really cool stuff. And you could just see just so many different units took part in the North African campaign. And I was mentioning that in a previous stream, that is really what makes this game special, is just the fact that you have everything represented. The enemy, the infantry units of the enemy being Libyan, as well as Italian. We've even got Free French forces fighting on our side. As many of you know, when Hitler did invade France and managed to take it over, Vichy France became sort of a fascist puppet. But in North Africa, there was still a French republic. There was still the French government in charge, so there were still Free French forces. We're going to go ahead and proceed and hope for the best. Of course, the Free French forces alone could not dream of standing up to the Germans and Italians together. That's just not going to happen. Here we go, boys and girls. Keep those fingers crossed. Forward! Oh man, look at that. We are just steamrolling across the desert here. It even looks, I'm not going to say anything yet, because I was going to say it even looks like we're doing well over here in the west, but we'll see. Yes, proceed to next phase. Okay. Wow, interesting. Let's take a look here at the chat. Yes. So we're all going to miss Musso big time. He's been an awesome administrator here. You know, keeping you guys in line, obviously. I'm going to miss him a lot. I know you guys are going to miss him too. So everybody give a huge clap for Musso. Maybe you could do a little, like, actual emote clap because we can't hear you, obviously. That being said, I'm going to miss you, buddy. So I hope you do well on your next line of work, and I think you are. I think you're going to do just fine. Okay, so we're going to continue here, and let's see. So at this point, I kind of want to start heading west to Bakub, but I'm not confident that we've taken Sidi Barani completely yet. So I'm still sending in some troops here just to get on right on the coast. Then we know for sure that anything in our way has been traversed. Let's put it that way. They could still hold on to a few areas here. I feel bad for their headquarters. And yeah, we are actually doing pretty well in the west. So now what we're going to do, we're going to attack this enemy machine gun division, the Catanzaro Infantry Division, which is actually a heavy machine gun regiment. And we're going to go ahead and smash them. These guys caused us a lot of damage to our infantry before, and this is our chance for revenge. So we're going to go in and just destroy them. Go in, boom, boom. Got to be careful because our guys are running a little low on fuel. But I don't expect we have much more to go. Let's put it that way. All right, we'll bring the destroyers in. And actually, I don't think these are destroyers. I'm guessing they're probably cruisers. If you're bombing from, basically, how can I put this? If you're in the ocean bombing a land target, I know, for instance, during the Vietnam War, destroyers were used for that. But I'm thinking during World War II, you'd probably need something heavier like a cruiser to provide some really good fire support. All right, we can accept that. Now, let's keep on moving here. Finish off the rest of the enemies. They're holding out here. It's their last outpost. They've put up a good fight. Let's put it that way. All things considered. Rajputana rifles forward. Send the HQ forward as well. Okay, I think that's about all we want to do. Ooh, so this is the main headquarters. I want to get them a little more in the center. As you can see, if you see that red, it's letting us know that those guys are out of supply completely. They're not even close to being in supply. So every turn with units out of supply, bad things can happen. Like this. This guy can't move at all. This guy can't move at all. They're basically just out of fuel. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Take a look here at the chat once again. Can move orders cover more than one turn? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. But I believe... Bin Hakim. Hey, Damien makes a good point. I was hoping that they would have that in the Operation Art of War 4 as a battle, but unfortunately not. And yes, I'm not saying the Free French were not great fighters. They absolutely were. And in fact, a lot of people would argue, if you actually study the invasion of France, that the French made a tremendous amount of mistakes. Because quite frankly, even though now we can be playing a World War II game and laughing about French armor or French tanks, when the war started, the French tanks were really on par with the German tanks. We're talking Panzer IIIs against, the French, I can't remember the name of the French model. They weren't bad. I mean, obviously, late war, you wouldn't want to use them. But early war, they were decent. And really, they just didn't expect the German assault. They didn't prepare for it properly at all. A lot of actual infantry regiments were on leave. Just imagine that, we're on leave when the Germans attacked. So... had the French actually had, been prepared for the German attack, who knows? World War II may have ended right there. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead. And obviously, you guys can discuss that in the comments if you'd like. Nonetheless, the Free French continued to be extremely helpful in the war effort. Both the French resistance, which was in many cases, not always, but many of the resistance groups were aligned with the Free French Republic, and also post-war, obviously, re-administering France, getting rid of the Vichy French, in this case, the fascist French. Although, as far as I can understand, the Vichy French, for the most part, were not really, how can I put this, weren't really held responsible for most of their crimes because, well, they were puppets, of the Germans. There's not a lot you can do in those situations. Here we go. Forward. I guess that was such a short turn, it didn't even need to be replayed, which makes sense. Just ridiculously short. There's really not much left. Let's go over here. 2 units there. Everybody's heading west at this point. Start getting all that arty on the western approaches so that we can fire at the area near Bukup. And of course, we're sending in our Rajput rifles. Finally, they get to see some action. I feel pretty comfortable with our standing now, honestly, but we're at turn 14 of 15, guys, so this battle is about to end. We are right there at the end of the battle, to be honest with you. Fire away. Okay, here we go. They're still sending in some Stukas, so the Germans are still assisting. And it looks like some of them are trying to break out here. Could they possibly break out? I would be pretty surprised. Okay, guys, we are at turn 15 of 15, I believe. Yeah, this is it. This is it. So... obviously, send everybody here to charge the coast here. But I think we're okay. Unless we needed to take more victory points, in which case we're pretty much finished. Because that western portion, we didn't ever manage to really get, a tremendous amount of power in that area. Although I am... oh, sorry guys, almost dropped the mic there. I am going to follow through with my artillery fire. We'll even send the Matildas through to hit that HQ. Boom. Send in the Free French. The Free French are out of supply. And think about it. I mean, these guys have crossed the desert all the way from Bir el Ineba. Crossing a desert is not easy. It's, walking 10 kilometers in a forested area is much easier than walking 10 kilometers in a desert. So I'm not surprised that these guys are a little out of supply. Sure, we could have kept the HQs close by, but I'm thinking they still would have suffered from some supply losses one way or the other. Here we go, guys. This is it. The final turn. Okay, boom. Look at all the enemy there. Wow. Tremendous amount of enemies to the west. So it looks like they all left Sidi Barani and evacuated to the west. Or maybe that's the new landing force of the Italians. We've got the Lucania regiment. A few others. Proceed to the next phase. Yes. Guys, fingers crossed this is going to be it. We've been defeated! Oh, too bad, guys. So I think two things. El Maktila, they still had some units over here to the east, and Bukub to the west. We're going to go ahead and show the eliminated units here. We can see the Axis, a tremendous amount of units eliminated, close to 44. We can also show Axis ammo per turn. Over here, the enemy ammo as well as our own. Just amazing, guys. I was really thinking we would get a victory there, but it looks like we ended with something like 330, and they ended with something like 440. Had we taken Maktila or Bukub, we probably would have won this. So I think what we had to do is split our forces. It's no wonder that those guys were having such an easy time running right up the middle there. Man, unfortunate. I'm a little sad. I almost want to cry a bit. I have to say, I almost want to cry. So we're going to exit here and take a look at another battle. Okay. So I'm not saying we're at the end of the stream, but we're getting there. So I do want to take a look at a battle primarily where we could just kind of show you guys some cool stuff, maybe even show off some features here. Obviously, you guys already know about the multiplayer aspects of the game. If you ever want to do a multiplayer game with an opponent, you can always jump in here. And obviously, it's going to be the play-by-email system that we mostly use. But we're going to go ahead and jump into a new AI game. And we've already looked at Operazione E, which is a really cool one. And the reason is you get to play as the Italians, and you get to see if you can sort of change history and completely control North Africa by yourself. But it's a tough one. As you can see, 36 turns. The one we just played was this one, the Battle of Sidi Barani. The next one is the Battle of Bedafom. I actually want to go ahead and take a look at that one. So here we go, guys. Now, you can, of course, get a very, very specific and detailed historical background of all of these battles, no matter which one you're playing. The end is near for the Operation Compass. Having swept away the Italian divisions entrenched in the Egyptian desert and having conquered the fortresses of Bardia and Tobruk, the British aim is to destroy the remainder of the 10th Italian Army, now retreating through western Cyrenaica. So the designer's notes here, basically there are minimal air units in this game. This is intentional and historical. I didn't even know this. At the end of January 1941, the British were rapidly transferring RAF squadrons into reserve in preparation for actions elsewhere in the theater of operations. The Italian 5th Squadron began its withdrawal to Tripoli beginning on 4th February 1941. Wow, interesting. So there's 3 victory conditions, and one of them is called the Pimple, which... that's an interesting name, but I'll take it. So we'll play as the Allies here, just to see the battle itself, get a few looks. Yeah, I think Zakblood really put it succinctly there. It's it's simple by design, the game, but once you actually get into it, you realize that it's far more complex. Learning the basics is fairly easy. I'll say that. So yeah, here we actually have to really set up our forces. This is a little intimidating because I'm not too familiar with this battlefield. But basically what we need to do here is go ahead and manually set these forces up. So for instance, go ahead, we take this HQ. I guess we can't leave this blue area. Yeah, we're gonna have to, that's gonna take way too long. I don't wanna put you guys through that. That's just too much. So we'll head back here. Take a look at a smaller battle. You could also take a look at the complexity of the battles. For instance, the Rats versus the Ram. I think this one's about the Desert Rats. So I'm going to be playing as the Allies in this one. The Desert Rats, for those of you that don't know, were elements of the British Army, the British Armed Forces. They would drive around in usually jeeps or similar vehicles, and since they had a lot of speed on their side, they would also carry extra cans of petrol, this sort of thing. They could get behind the enemy lines, destroy enemy oil wells, attack enemy troops behind the lines, cut off roads, cut off railroads, etc. So they were a really valuable force, and of course they were known as the Desert Rats. So yeah, wow, look at that, guys. These are the Desert Rats, 11th Hussars. This is really cool stuff. So I guess our job here, try and get to Bir el Gubi and move from there. But we absolutely have appropriate rat divisions here. And I'm not sure if there was actually a name of the division of the Desert Rats. I think it was just in reference to all units fighting, you know, sort of behind the lines. But I could be wrong. So setup, we're ready to go. Yeah, I don't really want to do much there. We just want to see where the enemy is. Okay. Take a look here. I'm not sure I want to move much until I know for sure where the enemy is. But you know what? I break my own rules every time. So we'll go ahead and move forward. In fact, we could have saved ourselves a mission there. We still can. We'll go ahead and change the scout mission to maybe up here. Yeah, somewhere up there. But being able to play as the Desert Rats in a North Africa campaign, that is cool. Okay. So you can see here a lot of motorized units, a lot of mechanized units, a few tanks, but the actual Desert Rats were mostly jeeps, things like that. I'm sure there were other technicals. A technical is essentially just a vehicle, a civilian vehicle, basically, with a machine gun attached. I'm sure those of you that have kept up with the recent modern wars in the Middle East will know what I'm talking about. So that was... I don't think the Desert Rats came up with the idea. And the reason I know they certainly didn't was even all the way back to the Russian Civil War. I believe that Nestor Makhno's anarchist forces actually were the first to come up with the idea of putting a machine gun in the back of a horse-drawn carriage. So that was quite a while back. So it certainly had been done before, but I think the Desert Rats, they really perfected it, man. Here we go. Get those HQs up. Yep, we're ready to end the turn. Wish us luck. Oh boy, we got a few enemy tanks. Interesting. So as we moved up, they moved back. And I'm not sure we can tangle with enemy tanks and come out alive. We're going to have to use our own tanks, obviously. So I'll go ahead. I'll do the attack. I'm going to try to use these Desert Rats the way they were intended and move behind the enemy lines. I'm wondering if I'm going to attack that Italian tank. I know I probably shouldn't because this is an armored vehicle and that's a tank. But I'm thinking the Italian tanks might be weak enough that we could possibly do some damage. We'll also send in our own tank division just to be absolutely sure. And I'm not going to be attacking El Gubi until we have it surrounded. At that point, I'll consider an attack. Let's also get the artillery in range. Send these guys to the west. So as some of our guys are going to the east, we'll send these guys to the west. My plan would be, if I was to play this game continually, would be to send guys, this sort of tan brigade to the right side, or to the east, and send this sort of purple brigade to the west. And basically, sort of a pincer movement, and then, of course, attack in the center. But, of course, if you get the game, it's completely up to you how you approach the battles. The last one that we fought where we got a loss, you know, I basically approached with just one major blitz to the center and that didn't work out. So you might have much better ideas than I do, which is another reason you should pick up the game and try to kind of do things on your own. See how far you get. All right, planning phase is done. I hope we were lucky against those Italian tanks, but we'll wait and see. I believe we were overrun. Yeah. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not. But the situation here, as far as I can tell, and as you can see, the battlefield here is a lot smaller than the last one. So, really look at the explanation for the battles to see whether it's going to be complex or whether it's going to be simple. You can tell that all just by the explanation. In this one, I think really our goal is going to have to be to cut them off, get behind their lines, basically, and cause damage that way. But I'm not sure. Maybe I'm totally wrong. In this case, I feel if we did like a massive assault against these units, we would not come out on top. Now, I am going to do one just for fun here, but obviously, I would not recommend this. If you're playing the game, I would not recommend doing this kind of assault. We are getting close to the end of the stream, so we're going to go ahead and just have fun. We're even going to send our artillery in. Let's go ahead. Here we go. But again, I'm pretty sure that if this is a Desert Rat scenario, the true goal of the scenario is to cut off the enemy and do damage behind the lines. Here we go. The first Transvaal. Now I'm completely shocked. So I told you guys that this game is very detailed. The Transvaal is in South Africa. Now this is the Transvaal Scottish Regiment. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm assuming that there's probably a Scottish community in South Africa or in the Transvaal region, and these guys have joined the British Army. Again, I didn't know any of this stuff, and when you just see the amount of minor countries, I guess you could say, joining the conflict and being part of the war effort on both sides, it really just brings home the fact that this really is a world war. Just involves everybody. It's just incredible. Let's best of luck to the Transvaal, boys. We'll have to see. Here we go. And obviously Transvaal is a Dutch word. Here we go. Boom. Oh boy. Hey, we're getting some retreats. That didn't work out so bad at all. That was okay. Man, I'll take that. I will definitely take that. So as you can see, we definitely got some units retreating. We did some damage to the enemy tanks, but they're still pretty strong, and I don't think I would risk doing any more damage to these guys and upsetting them. They don't seem like friendly people, or friendly tanks, I guess you could say. That being said, guys, thank you so much for stopping by the stream. I'm going to take a look here at the chat. And of course, we all have to remember Musso is absolutely awesome here. He's not going to be with us for much longer. He's got a terminal illness. No, I'm just kidding. He's actually just going to go, he's just going to a new line of work. So make sure to enjoy him while you can, and I'm going to miss you, man. I hope you have a great time there. As for the rest of you guys, we're going to have to find somebody else to watch this stream, because we know how political things can get if we don't have somebody keeping their eyes on you guys. That's obviously does not reference everybody here. No worries at all, and thank you, Musso. Thanks, Zach. All right, my friends, we are out of here. And Musso, there was a benefit to this, close to last stream, because the Italians won. So this was a little party for you, letting the Italians win in North Africa. Thank you, Sigurd. All right, my friends, take care and have a great day.